Good day, friends. It is me, HLModTech, and I'm back with another awesome lesson. Today, my friends, we're going to use Tinkercad to create an awesome glider that A, you can make for fun, or B, I'm going to show you how to make it so you can cut it on a Glowforge if you can find one. So, my friends, let's get cracking. So, friends, after creating a new design, we need to name it. I'm going to name this Glider MDH. I'm going to put V3 because I've been making a few of these. Because I'm using the Glowforge, I need to change the measurements. Our Glowforge is about 480. Notice I backspace all the way and then type 480, and then also it's about 280. So I'm going to backspace and type 280 and hit Update Grid. So now it looks more like the Glowforge workspace. I've played with white box learning gliders and had a ton of fun. If you've never played with one though, I'm going to just show you how to make one super quick. So we brought out a box. I stretched it with the black handle so it only goes left or right. I'm going to type in the number 270 because that's within their guidelines. And then I'm going to click on this corner and I want to make this measurement 12 millimeters. And I work with 4 millimeter thick cardboard, so that height, which you can see better from that corner, needs to be 4 millimeters. I'm also going to make it brown so that it looks like cardboard. I want my fuselage to have a slope out front. I'm going to do that with what's called the whole box. Stretched really long, adjusted a few degrees, and then use the arrow key to nudge that into place so that you get the slope that you think is cool. Notice you can adjust, tweak, nudge until you're happy. When you've got the one that you think rocks, you need to simply group them, and boom, it cuts off your fuselage so that it has the shape that you want. We need to have a rubber band catch, and we need to have a place where we can grab the fuselage for launching. We're going to do that with a box. When you bring out the box, I am going to say that I want mine 10 millimeters down. I'm going to make it cardboard so it's 4 millimeters thick again. I'm going to move it up to the front of this shape by using a line. Notice I grab both and then I just click this front button so they're aligned. Use the arrow keys to connect it. I also want this to have a sloped shape, so once again I'm going to bring out the box, stretch it, rotate it a few degrees to get what I'm happy. Notice if I stay close it snaps. If I go out here I can just adjust a little bit at a time. When I've got them all where I want, I can hit group and repeat that same process back here, except I'm going to slope it a little different. Here's my 10 millimeter thick part that I'm adding. So 10 millimeters in that direction, 4 millimeters for the cardboard thickness. And then I want it to be aerodynamic. So I'm going to select this shape right here, stretch it out, rotate it, put it right where I think looks cool. Maybe tweak it just a little bit until I'm happy. And then when I've got that just the way I want, I'm going to group those two parts and move it up into place. I can take those two and align them. Notice I already had it, which was just dumb luck, but awesome. I could change it to brown, but when I group it, it's going to be fine anyhow. You can see now my fuselage is complete. I'm going to move it a little bit up out of the way, and it's time to find wings. Friends, there are lots of ways you can build wings, but my favorite is with the Swept NASA, all the way out on page 13 of the All Shapes. This little dude actually is a wing. If we do fit view, you can see how sweet it is. The only thing is to cut with a laser cutter, we need the cross section of this little device. We're going to get that by using 0.1 millimeter grid, and we're going to go back to the basic shapes, and we're going to use a box. When we bring this box out, if we stretch it across, all we've got to do is use the arrow keys to get close to that middle. Because remember, we're creating a cross section. I'm going to do Control D, move the other one across, and I'm getting it so it has a cross section area as well. I'm going to just get this as close as I can to perfect. And then when I'm happy, that looks like a cross section that's going to work. I'm going to make sure that it's tall enough. And I'm also going to grab both of those. So I'm just drawing a little box that touches them both, and I'm going to do Control below 02 or Control down, so that way it's totally giving me that cross section. And I'm going to group it, so now I've got something to play with for making wings. We need to lay it down on the ground, So if you look at it from a corner, you can grab this little handle. If you rotate close to the shape, it uses those tick marks. If you move out here, it's a little more difficult. Once you've got it at 90 degrees, hit D to drop it, and boom, we are in wing mode. Now, if you remember White Box Learning, they have a maximum length of 300 millimeters across. We don't necessarily have to do that, but we're still gonna use it just for fun. So notice I stopped before 150 because that way I've got total of less than 300. I'm gonna actually type in 145, and then I'm gonna make my wing thicker. Notice I am using the black handles, not the white handles. As I find these, I want my wing chord to be about 50. I'm gonna type in 52 just because it's kind of fun. I'm also looking to make sure that this is a straight edge, and it is. So there is my wing. Now I need to make my horizontal and my vertical stabilizer. Once again, in White Box Learning, there are tons of mathematical reasons to make certain sizes. I'm just having fun. Black handle, squish, black handle, squish. That looks like it's going to be fun to me. So I'm going to use that as my horizontal stabilizer. Control D. I'm going to take my vertical stabilizer and I'm going to make it just like that. So I have just made all the wings for my sweet aircraft. Now let me show you what it looks like when we mock it up. Control D, bring it over here, and we rotate it 90 degrees. Notice you could type the number, you can rotate it by hand, whichever you like. Hit the letter D to drop it to the right level. Now I used 2 of these to give strength, so I just did Control D. I'm switching back to 1 millimeter, and then I'm going to nudge them so that they're side by side. That is how I give strength to my aircraft. I'm going to do Control D for the wings. I'm going to grab that wing. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so it's in a wing location. I'm going to do Control up arrow to raise it up. So that's going to be the height that I want it. Notice I'm really close to middle. I'm not too worried because wait for this. We've got to change the dihedral angle. Now, when you made these, you should have learned that somewhere between 12 and 14 or 15 is your best dihedral angle. I'm going to use 14 millimeters, and then you can use the cone to lift it up, or you can do Control up arrow to get it to the height that you want on your fuselage. I'm going to move it over so it's a little middle, Control down so it's actually touching, Control up so it's right where I want. And now I'm going to do Control D. I'm going to move it to the other side and use the amazing flip tool so that it's flipped the way I want, and then just use the arrow keys to line it up. And that, my friends, is our glider. Let's real quickly put the other fins in place. Notice I do Control D so I do not wreck my templates. I look at it from a corner so I can grab the right rotation. This is the one I wanted for my 90-degree turn. I'm going to lift it up with a cone, arrow key it into space. Once again, you can do Control up and Control down to get that exactly where you want as well. I do want 2 of these, so Control D, move it across, sweet flip tool, and then get it into location for where it's going to be when we actually are ready to fly. And last piece, Control D. Set my template over there, move this one over for adjusting. Always love those corners so I can find the correct rotation handle. If you ever make a mistake, just do Control Z. There's my rotate 90 degrees, rotate 90 degrees. Now remember, I've got to drop it to this height. Watch this. Work plane, boom. Click the shape, D for drop. It is in the right height. I can also grab it from this and it just stays on that work plane. And then finally I nudge it into perfect place using the arrow keys. Friends, that is a beautiful mock-up of what our glider is going to look like once assembled. Now it's time to build a jig that holds it in place. To do that, start by hitting work plane, clicking on the flat piece of your wing. Bring out a hole box. Get it close to the middle, use the black handle to stretch it crazy long each direction. And then this is important. We want to push it down into the wing a couple millimeters. So, switch to your 1 millimeter and then do Control down, pop, pop, so that it actually is below where the wing would be. I'm going to change it to 1 millimeter, so I'm going to do Control Up. Let's go to the other side and do that same thing. Work plane on the wing, bring out the hole, get it close to middle, stretch it out with the black handle, stretch it out with the other black handle. Do Control down to sink it in 1 millimeter. And then click on our groovy little wings, and we need to hide them. There's hide 1, there's hide 2. Now we need our fuselage to be first grouped, and then we're going to duplicate it with Control D, and then we're going to hide one of them. So there's only one right there, and we're going to turn that one into a hole. So what we've got is a series of holes. They're going to cut out our template that we stand things on. Put your work plane back to the ground level. Bring out that piece of cardboard that we're going to use to line this all up. Stretch it out, and then click on that center fuselage, click on your shape, and click Align so that we can get them centered. Notice it's not aligning with the fuselage piece. I clicked on the fuselage, and now it's letting me use this center as the spot that it connects. Pull your shape up into those holes, don't go past. And then also make this cardboard thickness, because we're going to be building it out of cardboard. We're going to make 2 of these, so we want to have them stay together. Check out how easy it is to build supports that hold them together. Make a 4 millimeter thick hole. Notice that's the same as the cardboard. And let's make that 10 millimeters high. I'm going to put one on this side, and I'm going to put one on the other side, just using the arrow keys. We don't have to measure these. You can if you're a perfectionist, but just having them there is going to be enough, because when we group it, we're just going to make copies of the same one. Grab that entire chunk, and when you group it, you have just created the amazing template that's going to hold it in place. You'll notice there's some little edges here that are kind of annoying where it went together. We're going to fix that super simple. Work plane, click that flat area, bring out a box that does fit where you want, and I'm even going to leave an extra 0.5 millimeter on each side. All right, so now I'm going to do shift click to grab those 2 pieces, and let's group them up so they make one awesome part. Work plane back to the ground, Control D to set that over in my cutout area. I'm going to rotate it for cutting as well. Type in the 90 because it gave me that little box. And then D to drop it to ground level. So that jig is in place. Remember, I'm going to cut 2 of those, and I need a stick that goes in between them. And that stick simply needed to be, I'm going to make it 60 long. That way it's longer than my wings were. Once again, 4 millimeters thick. And remember, it needed 10 millimeters so it would fit inside that groove. And I'll print a couple of those so that it holds them together as well. Let's do show all. Bring back our aircraft. And now we need something to hold the pieces in place on our tail fin. Notice these are too high. That's kind of funny. I didn't notice that earlier. I'm going to fix them by just doing shift select, shift select, shift select. And then when I do control down, I'll be able to shrink them to the right or drop them to the right location. That's the height I prefer to have them. This little piece is in the way of my support for this. So I'm going to make a different style of support. It's the same idea. It's just a little easier. Once again, we set it to 4 millimeters thick because that's how big the cardboard is. We get it to the height that it needs to be. If we look at that, you can see that it needs to go up 1 millimeter. So it's just going to sit on top of it. 22 looks like it's perfect. And then I'm going to do the same trick where I bring out another one and cut out a groove. There's my 4 millimeter thick groove. I'm going to still make it go 10 high by clicking and typing in the box. And then I'm going to cut this one this way. And group. So notice I'll be able to put my little stick underneath it and it'll hold that wing in place. And then I'll also have 2 of those. I'm going to do Control D, move it over here to my cut parts, rotate it to 90 degrees, and type D to drop. Alright, so with all of my parts in place, it's time to export them. I'm only going to show you this on one piece. You have to do it on each of them. Simply click on the one piece you want to export, hit export, and we're doing laser cutting SVG files. When you hit the laser cutting choice, if you're in my room, hit the STL folder, and then we need a special place for all of these. So notice I am right clicking out in the white place, hitting new and hitting folder, and it is going to be called glider with my initials. So there's glider MDH. I'm going to put V3 because like I said, I've made a few of these, and then I'm going to go in it and I'm going to name each part. So that was the fuselage. I'm going to just put fuse. And then I'm going to click on each one and do the same thing. So let's do this real quick. This will be the last one I show you. The rest will just happen. SVG, and this one is glider, and this is support. The next one will be support 2, wing, 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 etc. So here you can see I have got the fuselage, the horizontal support, the horizontal stabilizer, the main support, the vertical stab, the wing, and I'm finally doing that little stick that holds them all up when printed. In the Glowforge software, it looks like this. You need to hit upload. You need to find the folder where you put them all, and I'm going to start with that fuselage. Once it enters, remember to pick your settings. I'm using my 200 speed, 100%, 4mm focus cardboard setting. And as you can tell, I've already used this chunk of cardboard once for an earlier version. I need 2 of these, Control C, Control V. If you click off and grab them, it is kind of easier to drag them where they need to go. If you have changed the settings, then they show up red. We repeat the process, which I'll only show you once, but you need to upload each part, and you need to get them in place. I like to do it in order, so it keeps me organized. Last time I show you the settings, it's pick the temperature, move the little parts somewhere efficient for printing, and then do Control C and Control V because we need at least 2 of just about every single one of these, and we need 4 of those little sticks that hold them together. Alright friends, I could not get my horizontal stabilizer or any of the other wings to load, so I quickly went back, and this is only 0.3 millimeters thick. I changed it to 1 millimeter thick for all of them, and now it works like a champ. I just exported them with a different number in that same folder. So here if we hit add artwork and upload, you can see now there is a V stab 2 and a wing 2 because the others would not come in at that thin level I'd created them. Once again, settings, 200, click, arrange, find a spot that's useful. Although this is an even crazier idea, since this is my vertical stabilizer, it might be more useful to have my cardboard oriented in this direction. I'm also going to select my material quick before I bring in my last piece, just because it focuses, and that way I can adjust anything if I have to. So I'm doing custom 4mm, and you saw how that adjusted as it refocused. And now let's finally bring in those wings. Once again, mine are wing 2 because I lived and learned. Let's get those settings in place and then count pieces to make sure we've got everything. Control C, Control V, so I have 2 wings. Real quick count, fuselage, fuselage, stabilizer, stabilizer, back stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, support, support, and 4 to hold it together. Settings are hit. Let's make some cool stuff. Alrighty friends, so it said 347. Let's hit the button and watch it happen. Alright friends, we are assembling with tacky glue. You can see I glued my two fuselage together. I've got these little sticks in between. They are easy to knock over. I could glue them together, but I believe if I'm just more careful, I'll be able to get those wings glued on there. Unfortunately, I did not make them long enough, so I'm going to stick something else underneath to hold them in place. You can see that the supports for the back do work just like they're supposed to. Alright, so I did drop a bit of glue in there, and you can see that I did drop glue in here so those stayed, which is just nice to not have things wiggly. I could have been smart and made those interlock, but I did not, and now it's time to get my wings on and see if I can get them to stay the way I want. Notice a little bit of glue is balancing it pretty decent until right there, but also I wanted to show you that I'm making sure that the glue does not touch this because I don't want those to get glued together. So once again, a smarter solution would have been to build my rigs out further, but as you can see, I just used pins, and that's going to work just dandy as well. And you can see the vertical stabilizer is in place, and now it is just time to let it dry, and we'll come back another day for some test flights. Alrighty friends, so hopefully you've seen that there is a ton of room for you to make yours way more cool than mine. I'm hoping the test flight goes good. You do have to know that you have to add clay to it, and then also there's a launcher. That's really just a stick with a rubber band and a nice handle so you can get it out there a little bit. If you did have fun with it, friends, please give it a like. If you've got a question, comment, or suggestion, add it down below. If you make something awesome, make sure you share it with us at HLModTech. Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they're all awesome. And my friends, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button. And last but not least, hit the notification bell if you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new video from me, HLModTech. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.